Welcome to Spirit of Truth and this episode of Cleaning House. Today, we're going to discuss the topics of inerrancy and infallibility. We're going to take a look at why inerrancy and infallibility are important, what their definitions are, and we're also going to examine some statements from the Chicago Statement on Biblical Inerrancy, which is one of the more important documents on this topic in recent times. So why are biblical inerrancy and infallibility important? Well, first, is the Bible full of errors or is it not? A lot of scholars are going to say that the Bible's got tons of errors in it. Is this true? Is it not true? How do we know? Well, inerrancy and infallibility are two doctrines that help us deal with that issue. Second, does the Bible actually only talk about things of faith, or does it impact our morality as well? If it's inerrant and infallible, everything it says about morality are things we have to take not just into consideration, but take as ironclad commandments for our lives. However, if it's not, then maybe we don't even need to deal with a lot of these issues. Finally, does the Bible influence culture, or does culture influence the Bible? If the Bible really is just a creation of man, then I should be able to simply take my culture and correct the Bible where I see fit. But if the Bible's truly inerrant and inspired, it corrects my culture. So without inerrancy and infallibility, fundamentally Scripture loses its authority. We essentially devolve into a mishmash or myriad of different interpretations, and no one's actually right, and it doesn't even matter if one person is right or not, because we don't even have real truth in the Bible anyway. This would be devastating for Christianity. Second, inerrancy and infallibility are important because we need true knowledge about God. If the Bible's not infallible and if it's not inerrant, then the things which it says about God may very well indeed be wrong, and we actually may be worshiping an idol. So it's vital that God was able to communicate the truth about himself to mankind. Finally, our salvation may even be at stake. I mean, who knows? Maybe people just got it wrong. Like, hey, maybe Paul got it wrong when he said we're saved by grace through faith. Maybe that's not it. Maybe we are saved by works of the law. Who knows? The Bible may have errors, so we don't know. So this is a problem. If we lose inerrancy and infallibility, we can't even be sure about our salvation. So let's take a look at the Chicago Statement on Inerrancy and see if there's anything we can learn. First, and I really like this assertion and denial in this article, we have the situation where inspiration definitely guarantees the truth in everything that is written in Scripture. Yet we also at the same time deny that human interaction in the writing of Scripture introduced any errors or any issues or any problems. What this means is that if we're seeing discrepancies or potential errors in Scripture, they aren't really there. We just might be interpreting it wrong, we might be misreading it, or we may be trying to place a level of precision and detail and accuracy that the scriptural writers didn't even intend to be utilized in that situation. Second, this next article is really important. This article says that we can't apply standards of error to Scripture that are modern day standards and are foreign to the original context in which the documents were written. This is vital because a lot of the errors that we see, or that we think we see, are due to misreadings, misinterpretations, and applying that level of scrutiny where that level of scrutiny really shouldn't be applied. For example, we may want a scientific understanding of how something happens in Scripture, but Scripture's not necessarily going to give us that. That's foreign to the context. Now, having just said that, though, it's important to note that things like the flood and the creation are not overturnable by science. The reality is that science should align with Scripture, and when scientists say things that go specifically against Scripture, we have to hold to Scripture as our ultimate standard and authority. Now, we do have to interpret it properly, and so there is some leeway on that. However, it's very important that Scripture as revelation remain our number one source of truth. And finally, let's take a look at infallibility. This simply means that on everything which Scripture teaches, it is true and trustworthy. It's important to note that inerrancy and infallibility, while different, cannot be separated. If the Bible cannot err, it shall not err. This is the difference between infallibility and inerrancy. In conclusion, inerrancy and infallibility are vital for Scripture to have a ruling and authoritative place in our lives. They guarantee truth, but not precision, and they affirm truth in the face of man-contrived theories and doctrines. Thank you for joining us here at Spirit of Truth on this episode of Cleaning House. Next time we'll be discussing the clarity and sufficiency of Scripture.